Hey guys, welcome back to Chess Centers. Today we're going to be looking at one more crazy game. Today we'll be looking at a game from Bobby Fischer. Bobby Fischer was one of the most greatest chess players of all chess time. He played very few world championship, but then he played one of the most craziest, aggressive, and positional moves. So today we are going to be looking at one of his games against Petrosian in the 1971 candidates. Bobby Fischer was white. Bobby Fischer was already in a lead. It was game 9. He was in a lead of about 5.5 points to 2.2 points. So Petrosian was really stressed out in this game. So we can see the usual move of Bobby Fischer: e4, we have e6, and we have the French defense. So he plays d4, the normal reply to the French defense. Now d5. So here we can see he's really trying to. White is going for space advantage. Black is going for some defensive play. So now we see knight c3, knight to c6, knight to f3, knight to f6. Now here Bobby Fischer takes the pawn. This is the late exchange in the French defense. So now if you divide the board exactly in half and see both the sides, you will see this is an exactly symmetrical position. As now whenever it's a symmetrical position, we have to remember one thing, which is whoever it is to move has the advantage. So in this position it is white to move, so he has the advantage. So he goes with the pin with bishop to b5, and we have bishop to g4, and now it's become asymmetrical. So now both of them are pinning. Over here Bobby is pinning against the king, and Petrosian is pinning the queen. So now we have h3 just to push out that bishop. Usually in this position people take, so he too takes, and we have queen takes, and we have bishop to e7. The main thing over here is many players over here would like to play something like bishop to g5 and pin it to the queen, and we have double attack on this knight. But then over here he basically brings the bishop here, so he's defending this knight as well as he's prevent. Even if Bobby plays this, it is not that much aggressive now, but still Bobby goes for it, and we have a6, a6. Now again takes. Now the thing is we have double pawns here, and the pawn structure is kind of weird. This pawn is isolated a pawn, which is not really good. And there are three pawn islands for black and two pawn islands for white, which means white is better in uh, with the pawn structure. So we have castles just for defense and castles. So now we have rook to e1. Possibly in the later in the game, white may try to double attack on the e file because e file is open, which is good for white. And white is also very mobile and can attack easily. So we see h6, and the bishop goes back. You don't want to take this knight because he's going to simply take with the bishop, and this is kind of open, and knight versus bishop in open, bishop usually is better. So Bobby does not want to take, and we have queen to d7 just to keep his queen little active in the game. So rook to e2. The earlier idea of doubling the rooks is shown here. So we see a5, and he doubles the rooks. So in this position, we can see he really wants to attack on this bishop. The best move here would be something to play calmly, like rook a to e8, trying to defend the bishop. But then here Petrosian really wanted a win. He couldn't go for a draw. Petrosian was already losing the game by approximately 3 points, and that was bad for Petrosian. So he decided to go all aggressive. So he plays bishop to d8. This disconnects the rooks, but then black can have some better play with something like rook to b8 and try to attack this pawn. So we see him playing b3. The main idea with b3 is to go a4. Sir, மூக்குல தான் போயிடுச்சு. The main idea of b3 was to stop a4 as well as go for something like knight to c4 and something possibly like knight to c5, and maybe at like now this knight is really active in this outpost, nothing can kick it out. This queen will also have a hard time trying to stay active. So now he goes for b3, and we have rook to b8 as planned, but then knight to a4, going for the c5 square, knight to e4. Now black just thinks he got the best outpost for his knight, but then we have takes, and queen to f4. Queen to f4 basically is the idea of queen to f3, sorry, pawn to f3 and kicking out this knight. So Petrosian plays queen to d6, going for a trade of queens, and Bobby accepts happily. But the thing is, this square is being now defended by this pawn, so he plays c4, just trying to get a space advantage again in the queen side like he did in the king side. So now, sorry, in the center. So now we have knight to e6 and rook to c1. No, now the double rooks on the e file is no longer required, so he brings the rook to the c1 square just to defend the c pawn. Now the basic idea is if he takes, we just take the rook, and the rook is very active now. So Petrosian goes for rook to b8, attacking the b pawn, and b file is also a semi-open file, which is good for Petrosian at this point. So he plays rook to b8, and we have takes and takes. Now again double pawns. So white or Bobby Fischer decides to take the advantage of this double pawns. So he plays. Sorry. Yeah, now f3. Yeah, now Bobby Fischer plays f3 to just make sure that this knight cannot come to these squares, and the knight is forced to the h5 square, where he goes next. Now we'll see rook to c8, attacking the d6 pawn. Then we have knight to f4. The basic idea of knight to h5 was to just exploit these two weaknesses in the white's position, and then he plays rook to f4. Now the only way to defend would be g3, which is not really good option since both the rooks are still in the game. So now the rook moves to d2, defending the d pawn as it moves. So now we have rook to e8, the rook f to e8, sorry. The main idea is to just give checks and try to annoy the king, but then Bobby just gobbles up the pawns. So now we have check, king to f2, rook to h1, and king g3. So now the king is just trying to attack all the pieces, but then white is trying to annoy the king and not allow him. Now we have rook to h4 and king to knight to h5 and then king to h4, and we have g6, which is just defending the knight. Now he gobbles up the next pawn. Bobby Fischer is just not paying attention to anything, and he's just gobbling up the pawns. So we have rook to e8 just to come down to e1 and try to annoy the king more, but then we have rook to a5 and we have rook to e1. Now Petrosian is really stuck in this position. He's just trying to be aggressive, but he's totally failing. So now we have knight to c3. Now the basic idea is just to bring the knight back to the game. It was like very inactive over here, so Bobby just tried to bring it back. Now we have knight to f4, just to threaten this pawn and not allow this rook out of this rank. king to g4, and knight moves back. Now knight is coming to the center of the game, but it does not really matter for Bobby because he's totally crushing Petrosian. Now we have rook to e5, and we are attacking the e1 rook and offering a trade, because if you can see in this position, if all of these pieces are gone, only the pawn and the kings, then we would see that easily we could just push and go to the last rank and easily promote. So Bobby just tried to just what do you say, exchange all the pieces. So now we have f5 check, he has king to g3, f4 check, and king to g4. Petrosian, unknowing what to do, he's just giving some checks, and we have king to h7, just trying to bring the king into the game, and we have knight to e4. Now he just Bobby also wants to give some checks, and also in this point, knight to e4 just gives a threat of this taking this knight, because earlier you can see if I took that knight, if Bobby takes that knight, then Petrosian will take the rook. So now we see knight to e4. Now even if we take, nothing is there to take the rook. So we have g4. Now Bobby plays king to g4. Sorry, black played g5, and then Bobby plays king to g4. Now we have knight to g7, and we take the knight. Now Bobby just sees that even though he's sacrificing a piece, he's gonna be like 6 pawns, sorry, 5 pawns up, and also this. Now you can see Bobby is 5 pawns up, but then this pawn is not really doing anything. So you can say Bobby is almost 6 pawns up. So now Bobby Petrosian gives one check. We have king to f5. Rook to e2. This might look like an blunder, but then the main idea behind this move is if Bobby takes, Petrosian takes the pawn, and the uh, if Bobby takes this pawn and moves anywhere, this rook will be gone like this, and that is what Bobby just did, because he just wants to exchange all the pieces. As you can see, he is totally winning. Like now, after the rook is gone, he just plays a4, and now Bobby's pawns are unstoppable, and the knight is unable to do anything. So Petrosian just decides to resign and walk out. So after this game, Bobby simply won against Petrosian, and later in 1972, he won against Boris Spassky, becoming the world #1 champion for the first time in his life. Now, thank you guys. Hope you enjoyed this video. For more videos and tips and tricks, you can subscribe to our channel. You can we have a playlist above which shows the chess games of many other players. We'll be posting more to this playlist. You can check out our playlist, and you can check out also the old video of the freak attack by Gary Kasparov. You can see that that game too, and we'll be posting more videos. So see you guys next time. Peace out.